course, Jamaica is known for its tree-lined cliffs, its tropical plant beds, emerald seas, breathtaking views from above, chaotic market spaces, and widely grown ackee. But Jamaica is also known for banana. Yes, government has been taking the initiative to use this fruit to boost our economy for years, and 2019 is no different. Today we'll share with you some of the plans for enhancing the production and the export of banana. Hi, I'm Theodore Henry, and welcome to today's Jamaica Magazine. There's much to see in our Talawa Island home, and we're giving you just a taste today, so do stay with us.
I love waking up every day in this country. This is where I was born and raised. I have such a passion for my country, and for me, this is home. In Jamaica, lots of people, they look at just like beach, sea, sand, but our mountains are something to behold. It's majestic up there, and it's a different type of peace. It's a different type of lifestyle completely. I could mention many different places that are amazing, but the one thing I do love about Jamaica as well is that you can find that relaxation, you can find that chill in your backyard. Apart from it being an incredibly beautiful country, an incredibly beautiful island, we have a wonderful, wonderful culture, wonderful, vibrant, colorful people. There is definitely a realness to Jamaica. There's definitely something that no matter what keeps you in touch with reality here. Why come to Jamaica? It all comes back down to Jamaica as a whole. The food, the music, the culture, the people, the climate. Come out and meet us, come out and experience what Jamaica has to offer.
Jamaica 57 is here, and as you'd expect, there are a host of activities for everyone to enjoy. Miss Jamaica Festival Queen Competition, World Reggae Dance Championship, Mellow Go Round, Jamaica Gospel Song Finals, Grand Gala, and so much more. We have a lot to celebrate as a nation, so let's come on out and support all these celebratory activities. Jamaica 57, one nation, one people.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Wednesday, July 31. Jamaica is to receive grant funding of 180 million RMB, or approximately 3.5 million Jamaican dollars from China to assist with border security and airport operations. The partnership will be carried out under the Agreement on Economic and Technical Cooperation, which was signed on Tuesday by both countries. Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade Minister Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith says CAT scan machines will be purchased and installed at the island's airports.
This will achieve or help to achieve the overall goal of increasing passenger and cargo traffic at our international airports by some 50%, while reducing the risk from luggage traveling through the airport by 90%. Importantly, these scanners will ensure that we maintain international security standards, reducing the risk of non-detection of contraband and, of course, counter tax avoidance.
Our cooperation will bring more fruitful outcome and benefiting the two peoples.
The grant support will also facilitate the completion of the Foreign Affairs Ministry's new headquarters in downtown Kingston. 3 major energy efficiency intervention projects totaling $136 million have been completed at the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information's head office in Kingston. The project, which started in 2015, included the retrofitting of the 3 remaining floors on Building 1 and all of Building 2. The annex building was also upgraded and now boasts a 173-ton energy-efficient air conditioning system. This is expected to reduce the ministry's electricity consumption by 34%. Energy Minister Fable Williams says the modifications that were implemented through the Petroleum Corporation of Jamaica will increase productivity by enhancing staff well-being and the general work environment.
Interventions such as these are directly in line with the Government of Jamaica's strategy for delivering sustainable economic growth, which is underpinned by the drive to secure affordable and reliable energy supplies for our country.
In 2015, the Education Ministry received $32 million in electrical distribution upgrades with the installation of a 78-ton energy-efficient air conditioning system on 2 floors of Building 1. And in 2016, $13 million was spent to implement 7,500 square feet of solar-controlled film application on windows in the ministry. And in 2016, $13 million was spent to implement 7,500 square feet of solar-controlled film application on windows at the ministry. 600 unattached youth are to benefit from the rollout of the second phase of the Technology Advancement Program, TAP. The program is an initiative of the Universal Service Fund and targets 18 to 35-year-olds. It provides them with practical training in information and communications technology as well as job readiness skills. At Monday's launch, Portfolio Minister Fayval Williams said TAP would be partnering with the HOPE program to get young people actively participating in the digital society.
As we make this transition, it is imperative that all our people are equipped with the necessary skills and knowledge to adapt to whatever digital future lies ahead.
Interested unattached youth will be offered a stipend and given 3 months training from the Caribbean Maritime University. Successful applicants will also receive 9 months on-the-job experience. Applications for the TAP program may be accessed through the Universal Service Fund or the HOPE program. The creation of a Safety and Security Division at the Tourism Ministry is among new measures being implemented to strengthen Destination Jamaica. A new manual on tourism ethics for Jamaica will also be developed to guide engagements between visitors and workers in the industry. The manual should be ready by the start of the winter tourist season in December. These destination assurance measures were revealed by Portfolio Minister Edmund Bartlett at a press conference on Monday.
Jamaica has to remain a destination that is sought after. Jamaica has to remain what I call an opinionated destination. And everybody who comes here must feel it and must recognize that this is their place. This is where they ought to be comfortable and happy.
Local and international security strategist Major Dave Walker has been appointed to head the Safety and Security Division, which is based at the Tourism Product Development Company, TPDCO. These measures follow a recently conducted security audit of the tourism sector. The audit was done following reports by visitors regarding safety issues at a few resorts. And finally, the National Environment and Planning Agency, NEPA, says it is awaiting laboratory analysis to determine the cause of a reddish-pink discoloration of the Outram River in St. Mary. Even as those tests are being done, NEPA says it continues to partner with the St. Mary Municipal Corporation and the Water Resources Authority should corrective measures become necessary. NEPA's intervention follows the recent discoloration and a pungent odor coming from the river which runs through the parish capital. A team from NEPA, the St. Mary Municipal Corporation, and the St. Mary Health Department carried out a recent site visit. The team came to a tentative conclusion that the strong odor was due to an increase in hydrogen sulfide, while the reddish-pink color was caused by an algal bloom known as red tide. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
Let's get a little breeze on this land. All right. Now let's get some bounce in the rhythm. All right. Let's get some fire on our hearts. Now that is what we call all right. Run, come, get some Jamaica.
Banana has long been a staple in many Jamaican homes and has also been traveling overseas to international ports, but not without some challenges. Today we look at the history of banana production in the country and our government's efforts to revitalize the industry.
Daylight come and me want go. As early as the 1800s, Jamaica enjoyed a robust banana industry.
and by 1866, the country began its export trade of the fruit. It was one of the top export produce and drivers of foreign exchange for the country.
Mr. Tallyman, tally me banana.
For years, the country and farmers alike enjoyed the success which saw up to 70,000 tons of banana being exported in 1993. But in the midst of this achievement were great challenges. The sector grappled with varying diseases and frequent storms and hurricanes like Gilbert in 1988 and Charlie in 1951. The banana industry also had to face trade liberalization, falling prices, and low competitiveness. This triggered a gradual decrease in export. The final blow to the banana industry and to the livelihoods of many farmers was the passing of Hurricane Dean and Tropical Storm Gustav in 2007 and 2008. During this time, export fell to its lowest level. Some 800 jobs were lost, with the closure of an estate in St. Thomas by a major stakeholder. Eventually in 2008, the export of bananas stopped. With the support of the European Union, a long-standing partner, which provided funding, the government of Jamaica implemented programs to revive the banana sector. Between 2009 and 2011, priority was given to strengthening the technical and administrative support teams of the Banana Board. And it was during this period that the EU Banana Support Program was established. Funding to support the undertakings amounted to over 116 million Jamaican dollars by the government, as well as over 677,000 euros by the EU. This strategic approach to revitalize the banana industry would see production picking up and the resumption of export in 2011.
European Union has been supporting the banana sector since 1996, so it's not something new, and that commitment is very strong. We recognize the importance of bananas to Jamaican people and Jamaican culture. Unfortunately, the blow to the exports in 2008 has been quite difficult to recover from. So today we are trying to support the Banana Board and the Growers Association and the small producers in order to improve their competitiveness, but also to assist them with technical expertise, to look at a variety of different types of bananas and plantains.
Over the years, the help is more than about 40 billion Jamaican dollars. We have benefited tremendously as recovery from risk management, from hurricanes. They provided tremendous help to recover each time the industry has been impacted. In fact, they have left us with something that we think is a great legacy, the Banana Industry Catastrophe Fund, which the Banana Board still manages. If a farmer contributes to that program, in a year when there's a disaster, he is helped with his input supply to get back on his feet.
The revitalization of the industry saw the implementation of the Jamaica Banana Accompanying Measures (JBAM) program in 2012. Approximately 1,400 farmers in banana-producing parishes of St. Catherine, St. Thomas, Portland, St. Mary and St. James are targeted under the program. They are introduced to new varieties of the crop, notably the Fia. This type gives 30 to 50% more yield and is good for cooking and producing chips. As with the focal point with all Jamaica's international development partners, the PIOJ works with the Rural Agricultural Development Authority, RADA, to ensure that the funds provided by the EU support the country's long-term development goals.
What that means is that RADA now provides that technical support. It provides administrative support to the program to ensure that the funds received from the EU are actually spent on time, effectively, and actually do what they are actually designated to be doing. And so far, the project has actually achieved a lot on the ground.
Among the outcomes of the Jamaica Banana Accompanying Measures program are improvements to the Banana Board's laboratories. The research and development labs were outfitted with the latest equipment to carry out testing on disease samples and develop pesticides. The Banana Board is now able to produce a variety of plantlets from their new tissue culture biofactory.
the European Union has provided us with a tissue culture biofactory. We don't call it a tissue culture lab, it's a biofactory. So in the future, we can provide our own seedlings in much greater quantities in the shortest possible time.
The projection is for the board to produce 120,000 tissue culture plantlets. That is to be supplied to participating farmers of the JBAM program per year. The calculated intervention by both the government of Jamaica and the European Union also allowed for the continued operations of the banana breeding station at Bodles in Old Harbour in St. Catherine. The Banana Board currently maintains over 150 varieties of disease-resistant banana plants. Also, JBAM supports the Growers Association through the construction of a $30 million processing plant. This will allow players in the industry to move up the value chain and benefit from the production of banana and plantain chips.
And in the future, they can look at other banana products. So we are actually empowering the growers to be involved further along the value chain, which will provide more profit, more income to the Growers Association.
Farmers also benefit from farm supplies at reasonable rates from stores operated by the All Island Banana Growers Association.
The other thing is the availability. Because of our cash resource, thanks to the EU, we are now in a better position to improve on our inventory. So the availability of input material that is readily available to all farmers. Thirdly, from the assistance given to us, we were able to implement credit programs, which our farmers could get assistance to resuscitate their farms and so forth.
The impact of the JBAM program is far-reaching. Not only are the farmers empowered to produce, but they are able to employ workers, thus spreading the financial gains across rural communities. Another advantage to the farmers is that they get the opportunity to acquire the Global Good Agricultural Practices certification. With this international standard, they are able to trade in the export market. The certification exercise is administered under the sub-program of JBAM, called the Banana Export Expansion Program, BEEP. Its main objectives are to increase banana production with international standards, develop the technical and infrastructural support of the industry, and preserve the industry's competitiveness in both the export and domestic markets.
Well, the assistance that I have gotten is tremendous. We have a huge storeroom that we have compartmentalized to facilitate smooth operation and to prevent contamination and to make us more efficient. By ourselves, we would not have been able to. This has been a springboard because having gone through the first hurdle, I can start counting what my bunches will be like in the second half, right? So I know I can start counting money. So economically, I'll be better off.
I've also received over $1.25 million in grant from this program, this BEEP program, and this grant was used as infrastructural development. So I was able to develop my infrastructure for the Global GAP standard. My farm is now certified as an export farm, so I'm now able to export my own fruit to various overseas countries.
The Banana Board has seen a steady increase in the export of banana and wants to take it further.
The increase in export between last year, between 2015 and 2016, was 30%. So it's not that we are not doing well. Or with the banana, Jamaica Banana Accompanying Measures support, our aim is to increase the overall production by 30% over 2011. And in last year, we actually did 26%. So we are well on our way.
Export markets currently include the Cayman Islands, Canada, the United States, and the United Kingdom. Looking to the future,
the nature of EU's partnership with Jamaica will mean that we will continue supporting the government and civil society organizations in trying to improve people's lives, and that will be very much also relevant to the agricultural area.
Protect Jamaica, plant your grass. Help us become more resilient to climate change impacts. Protect Jamaica, plant a tree. It improves the island's national biodiversity. Trees may be fruit, ornamental, or timber, but must be native or suitable to the area's natural landscape. Join the Jamaica Million Tree Campaign and help to plant 1 million trees by June 30, 2019. This is a call to action by the National Environment and Planning Agency.
Jamaica is also known for its creative people who will make something from just about anything. We met up with some local jewelry makers who created their pieces from elements such as board, metal, and other things. Take a look.
Droplets of beads, creatively designed metals, painted wood, all handcrafted to adorn the neck, face, or limbs. Made from natural resources found on the island, local costume jewelers are designing a niche for economic empowerment.
Natural handbands. These are like from Lucky Seeds and RSI, and these bracelet is from copper with seed mixed in. And we have bamboo handband. We have leather handband over here, and we have wallets, sandals, and pipes and chalices. Natural, all handmade right here in Jamaica. I've been doing this business for over 40 years now. I've traveled all over the world, and this is the business that I do. It is my living, and I'm very proud of it. I was working at the post office for 18 years, but in the 18 years at the post office, I learned this trade. I'm self-taught. That's what I love about this. I think about a creative piece and I manifest it with my hands. And that's what I love about it. Manifesting what I think.
So we have two lines here. We have one called the Heavenlies, and then we also have another line that's completely made out of paper, crafted from scratch, hand-painted by a fine artist and varnished. And that one is called Inspired by Nature. And if you look at it, you'll see things that remind you of sunsets or hillsides and mountainous reliefs and fruits and flowers. We have some freshwater pearls, we have shells, we have upcycled, I would say, materials that we used to make the earrings, so paper. So, and we do a lot of seeds and shells. I work a lot with shells. So those sorts of things.
I'm telling you this, we don't know how rich we are. We're a very rich country. I'd love if we could concentrate on developing our skills and using our local product and advance. We are so rich that it's confusing sometimes to see what we're doing, so much stupid things. Killing each other, robbing each other. We don't have to do that. We have everything here. So we need to just concentrate and focus and be positive and use the things that we have, because we have a lot.
Just being more mindful of what you're doing every day and what you're using every day, you know. Paper instead of plastic, that's kind of, you know, the stereotypical answer, but really thinking about where you're buying your products. Are you buying things that are locally made? Are you buying things that are imported more than the locally made?
Jamaica is a unique island with so many stories to tell, and here are just a few. Number 1. Jamaica was once a Spanish-speaking country under Spain's rule from 1509 to 1655. In fact, many towns in the country still maintain their Spanish names, such as Ocho Rios and Santa Cruz. Number 2. Jamaica is home to the 7th largest natural harbor in the world, and that is the Kingston Harbor. Number 3. The island is predominantly comprised of Christians, but Jewish residents are among the oldest set of people in this country. And number 4, Jamaica was the first tropical country to send a bobsled team to the Winter Olympics in 1988. There's so much more to Jamaica, so do some research. Catch up on our history or become a part of that history by making your positive mark. Do this and you too can help to make Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business.
skilled person. So I love to explore and I love to pull and fix. I'm curious about life and what it's worth.
I'm a part of the Special Olympics team for Westmoreland.
I'm also a Special Olympian. I'm proud to be one.
I have a lot of medals, but the bad thing about it is not a lot of gold, but it's medals.
As the first race I won, I came dead last.
A guy run left me, and this year I went back to Kingston, and I make up my mind and say, you know what?
I don't make no Kenyan person run left me again.
Because guess what? I want it 1 out of 1. I don't want to be 2-0.
So I take it, and for the whole week, I train until that the race will come. I'm win it by far.
And accomplish, will achieve.
The experience was nice. I learned some new things. And every time I can take shortcuts in our work.
Thank you for the National Youth Service. I think God put it on this earth, really, for people with disability. It is a great program, a wonderful program. It helped me to realize a lot of things in this world, so I can think about other things and go at them. Not just sit at home and playing games, watching TV, because I know that won't help me.
We have been privileged to go through this experience with all of these young persons. It has been both a learning experience for us, the staff at the NYS, as well as the young persons. We saw the young persons developing their own personal and professional skills. If you or someone you know has an intellectual disability, you can refer them to the National Youth Service, where our program fully caters to their personal and professional needs, where we will be sure to assist them in transitioning into the world of work.
The National Youth Service, empowering Jamaica's young people.
And that's all the time we have for you today on Jamaica Magazine. But if you missed anything, you can watch it all again on our website or our YouTube channel. And you can also keep up with the JIS team on our Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter pages. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Theodore Henry. Take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.